Hi, everyone. Welcome. Alcina, did I say that correctly?
It's Alcina.
Alcina.
It's Italian, C with a vowel.
Alcina.
Yeah.
Scott, Ariel, Anita. I'm guessing your name is not owner, is it? Noam?
Sorry, what was the question?
Some gentleman with the goatee and beard, it says owner as your name, but I'm guessing that you have a different name. Rafa. Hello. If everyone could please put your name that you'd like us to call you and where you're calling from in the chat, um, we will get going. Bridget? Brigid?
It's Bridget.
Samuel? Oh my gosh, hello. Nice to see everyone. Oh, Santa Rosa, we're like hop, skip, and a jump from you. And just so you know, I can't see the chat, so please, if there's something you want to say during this workshop, just shout it out. Or David, my partner in life, and Mendful is here, and Pedro, our newest addition to Mendful, is here all the way from Quito, Ecuador. So my name is Jill Nagel. I am the founder of Mendful, and this is Empathizing with the Enemy from the Inside Out. So if that's what you came for, you're in the right place. If you came for how to make the best chocolate cake in the world, that's another workshop. Let me start the recording here and also here. We like to record these so that folks who didn't get a chance to come can see it, and you can also see it, and it'll be on the website. If we ever wanted to use it for anything else, we would ask you if you were part of it. So let me start to share. We can get going. Again, this is the Empathizing with the Enemy from the Inside Out. I want to ask that you get something to write with or on. It could be your phone. We're going to do an exercise later. We're going to ask you to write something. So want to get you prepared now. We already typed the name, where you're calling from, acknowledging that we're recording for public consumption. I'd also love to be able to let you know about other things upcoming. So if you do not want to be on the mailing list, please message Pedro and say, do not add me to your stinking mailing list, or no thanks, or whatever. Otherwise, you'll hear from us. So I'm going to give a brief overview of the Mendful app. We're going to do a two-part kind of hands-on exercise. We'll talk about how today's workshop fits in with the rest of the series of 4 one-hour workshops, and also how it relates to the full training. Then I'll ask you to take a couple of minutes and evaluate what we did today. It really helps. We do look at these evaluations and use them to improve future offerings. And then I'll stay on for some Q&A and thoughts. And then for those of you who want to stay longer, I'll give more information about Mendful, the logistics of the Mendful core competencies immersion training.
I'm on a webinar. Be right there.
So I'm really curious, what comes to mind when you look at this photo? If you were one of these creatures, and you had human thoughts and words, what might you be thinking? What might you be feeling? I mean, my first thought is, uh-oh. Welcome to unmute.
I think that lioness is in trouble.
Say it again, please.
I said, I think the lioness is in trouble next to the crocodile.
Uh-huh.
Because of this picture, I actually researched this, what happens when an alligator and a lion face off.
What did you find?
It depends on whether you're in the water or on the land.
Fascinating.
Well, and that's a crocodile, not an alligator.
Or crocodile. Yeah, sorry. wrong continent. But yeah, if you're in the water, the crocodile, clear winner. On the land, one-on-one could go either way, but if there's multiple lions, usually the lions have it.
So we're
Anyway,
looking for kind of gut visceral reactions like whoa, or a crocodile or a lion, or what would be your immediate reaction if you were one of these?
I put it in the chat, but it feels like a power struggle is just about to start or it already has started.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Thank
For
you.
me, I feel like back off from me. Let's not even get this thing started.
Mm-hmm. Back off.
Yeah.
Power struggle. Yeah.
Apprehension.
Danger.
Danger. So one of the things that I've noticed about conflict over the years is that it lives both in the body in terms of how we just physically react, and it also lives in our mind with words like a crocodile, a lion, a fill in the blank, a person who's wrong, right? So we have our embodied experience of what's happening, and then along with it goes words, descriptions, stories, and so on. And so that's why we approach resolving conflict from both places, not just what we do in our heads, but also what's happening in our bodies. And we do that both as conflict resolution coaches within Mendful, and also with ourselves. And we're going to play with some of that today, if you're willing. So first, I want to give you an overview of the Mendful app. We had this crazy idea that along with food delivery and calling up an Uber car and getting psychics and webcam entertainment on demand, we should also have conflict resolution because that's at least as important, if not more important. Anyone agree?
Yes.
I think so in this polarized world, right? It is human forward. That means we're focusing on the human aspect of this and will also be AI supported. That order is very important. Humans first. And our secret goal, don't tell anyone, is to see the collective consciousness with alternatives to polarization, estrangement, violence, and worse, with connection and understanding. And also, one of my passions is to provide right livelihood and niche platform opportunities for certified coaches. Oh, you know what? We're not focusing on piloting an in-house B2B. Sorry, my editing this morning wasn't on track. We're starting off with B2C, meaning we will be serving customers who need conflict resolution right away. So here's some early screens. We're going to start the project with off-the-shelf tools. We'll build the app later, but it will look something like this. You can talk to a human coach, or you can talk to Mendy, the AI coach, or you can browse what will become a library of videos on relevant topics. For example, if a gay son is coming out to his conservative religious father and it's just not going well, the son might engage the app to invite dad into a conversation. Well, dad might not want to engage with this woke thing that his son is suggesting, but dad may be willing to anonymously browse a video with a gay son and a very religious conservative father and get some vicarious sense of healing that may soften his relationship with his son. So this was one of my early dreams for Mendful before it became Mendful, was that we would be able to scale conflict resolution kind of by letting people have vicarious experiences, whether it's a widely recognized polarization like Democrat and Republican, or something kind of everyday, like a gay child coming out to their parent, or even, sweetie, you keep leaving the dishes in the sink, stuff that people can relate to. Here's what it looks like when I say niche platform. I mean, people can specialize in what they are good at. For example, and these are fictional, these are composite characters. Jamal has been focused on helping friends reunite all of his life. He's a friendship whisperer. Michael runs men's groups and helps men reconnect with their hearts. Sandra is dialed into the immigrant experience and helps Asian moms and daughters bridge cultural and immigrant style gaps between the cultural language and so on. And so here's what happens if you drill down. You get more of a full bio. You get to meet the person in a short video. You can see all of their media on the app, and their feedback. So we want the offerings to be culturally relevant. And so we are encouraging the folks who are training right now to develop their own niche eventually. And the approach to the training is we start with self in relation to self. What's happening in our own nervous system? What kind of language are we using to describe the world so that we can then help the people in conflict to settle their own nervous systems, to translate their judgments, their evaluations, and their interpretations into language that helps them connect with the person they're trying to resolve conflict with. So today, for empathizing with the enemy, I'm going to give you 2 keys and a shortcut that you'll get to practice. And an insight sort of behind that. Gosh, I hope you can't hear that machine outside, can you? Saying no, okay.
No.
It only takes one person to make a conversation go well, or at least better. I'm going to say that again. It only takes one person to make a conversation go well, or at least better. And unfortunately, most of us typically want it to be the other person who does that work. But I'm going to show you some ways to do that work today. And instead of making the other person wrong, try getting curious about them in ways that move the conversation forward. And notice I said making the other person wrong, because a lot of times we think, well, but they are wrong. What if they are wrong? Well, it's an invitation to stop and notice that we are actually making them wrong, or what we're doing, what happens in our bodies, what happens to our language, what happens to our perspective when we decide, when we choose to use the language of having someone else be wrong. And stay tuned for the shortcut. So here's an overview of the parts of the exercise, and then we'll jump right in. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify our why. And by our why, I mean, why did you come here today? What brings you to this type of work? Why would you want to spend an hour of your life learning how to, or practicing how to empathize with someone who looks, for all intents and purposes, like that crocodile if you're a lion, or like the lion if you're a crocodile? Why would you want to do that? So we're going to ask you. And then we're going to do an exercise about regulating your nervous system, which has to do with going inward and noticing out loud what's happening with your sensations, your thoughts, and your beliefs. And we're going to help you find your inner support to do that. And then we're going to practice some simple steps, and we'll keep practicing because simple is not the same as easy. So that's the overview. So I'm going to give you my why, and then I'm going to ask you to write down your why. And maybe they're the same or similar, and maybe they're not. My why is I want a more relaxed and functional and joyful nervous system and psyche and body for myself. I want to feel better. I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel joyful. And that's a big part of why I do this work. I want better relationships with the people that I'm close to, especially when we disagree, because I know that if we can get through a disagreement, we can strengthen the overall relationship. And I want a better world. I want a world where we have the tools, we have the capacity, we have the wherewithal. We see what's possible in terms of bridge building, in terms of compassion and curiosity, instead of the polarization and violence and war that we find ourselves in right now. I know that's big. Your why can be a simple thing like peace. So I'm going to stop sharing and give you a moment to jot down your why.
Jill, I have a question.
Yes.
So you said, why are you drawn to this work?
Yeah.
And then you said, why did you come to this workshop? And those are 2 different things for me.
Whichever one feels most alive for you.
Okay, thank you.
And if you're just arriving, go ahead and put your name and where you're calling from in the chat, and welcome. Rachel, Helen, Chris. Bill. Hey. And as you are finishing, feel free to say your why out loud. Your why or your whys or your whys.
So for me, it's flow, understanding, harmony, and moving into the possibility zone.
The possibility zone. Flow, understanding. Thank you, Noam. Scott, are you trying to share? We can't hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry. I guess my mic is up. So you've probably heard me talking to all the people that are coming to my house to fix it.
No.
Good.
Oh,
Okay.
I muted you,
Oh,
Scott.
my why is very simple. And that is, I'm sure that I've been doing this work for over 40 some odd years as a mediator. And it's real simple. I have a passion for trying to help people positively manage the conflict that's inherent in all of our lives.
Positive.
Understand conflict itself can be a source of growth and can be positive and still very positive change. So it's just getting people to accept and comfortable with conflict. That's the nervous part. Also, then, okay, the next step is how are we going to manage it?
Yeah.
You can't just agree to disagree.
Right. Yeah. That doesn't go too deep, does it? Thank you, Scott. I just realized that you're signed in twice, and I was kind of reading your lips with where your mouth was. We could see your picture there, and then the sound was coming out of the other one.
I have no idea. I tried to open my camera and it said it was open in another app. So on screen, my face doesn't show, so that's fine.
I see. Okay, let's take another share or two, and then we'll go on to the exercise.
I'm sorry. This is Scott. Somehow I need to figure out which of your Scots to put in the breakout room. Or remove the one that doesn't need to be here. Anyway, maybe I'll chat with you about that. We don't need
I was going to
bother
suggest
everybody about it, but yes.
Another share or two before we go into breakout rooms. What breaks? Go ahead, Phil. Sorry.
I put mine in the chat, but I'm fundamentally curious about others, so it makes me feel good, no matter what the circumstance. So it's not curiosity for something, it's curiosity itself.
Curiosity itself.
Yeah. It makes me feel better to understand somebody else or to help other people understand each other. And then leaning into conflict allows me and others to develop, similar to what Scott said.
Thank you. Curiosity, leaning into conflict. Anything else?
I'm happy to jump in.
Thanks, Ariel.
So for me, my why is I'm interested in transforming destructive conflict, preventing unnecessary harms and violence. And what brought me to the workshop today is I want to learn about Mendful, the app, and what you're doing. I was at the Department of Justice in a small peacemaking unit that no longer exists, and so I'm independent now, and I'm curious about this app and things like that.
Lovely, thank you. All right, well let's dive in. So we like do-overs at Mendful. Lots of times, once something is said and done, it kind of sticks there. But you said this thing. I can't believe this person said that. What a jerk, they said that. So a do-over is where you go back to that moment and choose a different path, a different thing to say, a different way to show up. And so we can do that with even one person. And believe it or not, that can sometimes help the duo. I have to move this out of the way so I can see this. So I'd like for you to think of a situation, either in the past or some that you're expecting might happen in the future, like an encounter. So that would be more of a fast forward than a do-over or a rewind. But like if a conversation that really didn't go well, or if you're going to be, stuck on an airplane ride or something with someone that you're expecting, someone has extremely different views you find disturbing. Where somebody said, or you're expecting that they will say, something that provoked a strong negative reaction in you. It could be a public figure. But for the purposes of the exercise, we're going to have you be in conversation with one another. So something that happened where someone said something that provoked a strong negative reaction in you, or someone that you expect, maybe based on past behavior, in a future scenario will say something or could say something that will provoke a strong negative reaction in you. And here's some prep. I want you to imagine that the part of you that notices how you're behaving can say, I noticed that I felt this way. I noticed that I really want that chocolate right now. And then I'm noticing another part of me wants to wait. So imagine that part of you, we'll call it your inner witness. And that part of you that just doesn't get fazed or disturbed, always wise and calm. The part inside you, it may be very deep, it may be very small, maybe you've never heard of it. Just imagine that there's a part of you that is always calm and wise and observing, putting their hand on your back or your shoulder, whatever kind of gesture feels supportive to you. Maybe it's standing near you, maybe it's giving you a hug, and conveying with words or actions, I'm here with you. We've got this. What does that feel like? So with those two things in mind, we're going to pair up and have one of you follow the instructions that I'm about to give you, while the other one simply witnesses. And then you'll switch. This is a preparation for going into the conversation. A lot of times in a situation that causes conflict, we get caught off guard and we react. And we don't necessarily react in a way that we would like to if we had a chance to figure out ahead of time and to respond. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I want to invite you to screenshot these instructions, the next ones as well. And I'm also going to give you a link in the chat so you can open it up in another screen. And the point of this exercise is for you, the speaker, the person doing the exercise, to bring curiosity and interest and compassion to the other person, the one that said the thing that would ordinarily provoke this reaction in you, in a way that helps that person respond more from their heart rather than defensiveness, helps them unwind the habitual reactions that they have. And what helps them to do that is they realize they aren't being judged. And open up possibilities. I heard a couple of people say possibilities in their mind and heart for connection across a divide. And we'll help you do that starting with you in relation to yourself from the inside out. Actually, that's not the one you need to screenshot, but if you did, it's fine. Here's the thing to screenshot. And I'm going to demonstrate this. Would somebody like to be a listener? Any volunteers? Noam, thank you. David, can you put Noam and me in the spotlight? So Noam, your job is going to be just to listen to me.
Can you stop your screen share, Jill?
Yeah. Are we both spotlit? Okay. Before I do that, let me put the link in the chat. So then you'll just have it, and I don't have to stop the screen share again. Where's the chat? Oh, there's so much chat going on. Okay, so now you have that link. Let me go back to the exercise. So I was standing in line in this buffet. And I heard the guy in front of me saying that he thought it was a good idea that some women are really starting to go back to traditional roles because it follows what nature intended. And I felt this this like a lightning bolt of rage just surged through my body, like a cobra going like. And I'm standing here at the buffet line. I don't know this person very well. It's like the friend of a friend or something, and I'm just feeling this, and like almost like I like growing fangs and talons, you know. And I noticed myself letting that come through me, just letting it come through, like the inner dragon or whatever. And I noticed myself choosing not to say or do anything, like letting the dragon get really big, letting the fire come out, and really not wanting to let it go, like really wanting to, to come at it. Like there's something in me that would like be very feel very satisfied to be that, to do that. And then I felt sadness, like a whole bunch of sadness, like sad that I like some part of me really wanted to hurt this person, and sad that like I don't get to be close to you because you're never going to see me as a full human. I was telling myself that, you know, he would never get to know me because I am so far from what he thinks I should be that he wouldn't see who I actually am. I'm trying to get this thing back. Yeah. Sorry, at the moment. Yeah, so that's what happened. I was in this line. I heard him say this thing. I felt the dragon, noticed myself going into all sorts of postures. And I told myself he wouldn't, how could we, like, I told myself it was hopeless. How could we ever be close to one another? How could we ever have a human relationship if you really felt that way? And that's basically it, to slow down that moment when the thing happened. You're not engaging, you're just giving that moment space and letting it get big and detailed in a way that we don't often get to do. Life doesn't give you a pause button, right? And say, hey, everybody freeze while I have my moment here. We're going to have the moment now. Yeah. Thank you, Noam, for witnessing me. Do you want another demo, or shall we go right into the breakout rooms and do this with each other?
So the witness doesn't say anything?
No, just be there, witness.
Okay.
Another demo, or go right into breakout rooms and do this?
Just a second.
Raise your hand if you want. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I thought your demo walked us through it effectively, and we also have the screenshot, so breakout rooms would be fine with me.
Okay, so let David know if you do not want to be assigned to a breakout room. You'll have 3 minutes each. We'll ping you when you're at halftime. And again, just witness. And this isn't about analyzing or what you think the other person, you know, just really follow the prompts and stay with yourself and what's happening with your experience. Yeah? All right, I'll see you in 6 minutes.
versus somebody that you have repeated interactions with and or a long history with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, difference in whether it's family and you have the colloquial term baggage, habitual responses to someone versus where it's a setting where you're more detached and you don't know the people as well, and there's an expectation of professionalism. Yeah.
For me, it's a great exercise just to listen and to observe. As a listener, I'm like, okay, how am I going to remember everything? There's the initial thought of how am I going to capture it, and the release from that responsibility by knowing that you're just listening is wonderful. And at the same time, following a script is also not easy, because now I have to follow your framework and think of how my experience fits in.
Mm-hmm.
So some sense of loss of flexibility there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Good to know. Good to know. I'm curious how you would reorganize this to make it more flexible, but not for now. I'd love to ask you that later. And any other, let's take one more share.
I'll share something. I noticed that I don't prioritize all relationships equally. And in my work, we call do-overs the art of time travel, right? Because you get to go back. And I'm willing to do that with some people, but not everybody. And so, just noticing how I would definitely be willing in some relationships, and other relationships, I might not be able to prioritize it given other commitments and constraints.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. All right, so let's go to part 2. And David, for next time, this one was a minute short. So let's make sure we're going to give 4 minutes each. So that means that you would time it at 7 minutes, because when you close the breakout rooms, it gives you an extra
Oh,
minute.
last time I think you said 3 minutes each.
And it was only 6. So
Okay.
regardless, this time it's going to be 4 minutes each. So instead of 8, it would be 7 that you said it to count for the 1 minute
Okay. 7
closing.
minutes.
And when it says the breakout room is closing in 60 seconds, you can use every single one of those 60 seconds. It's fine. You don't take it as, oh, we have to rush, we have to jump out now. So let me share again. So this time, you might have guessed, part 2 is going to be engaging with your partner, who will role play the person whose words or actions sparked your reaction. And feel free to, like Rafa, what you said about caring about some relationships more than others, if you would like to use this opportunity to role play a relationship that you care about, in other words, like to switch it up so that the exercise is more meaningful to you and you can actually use it for something you care about, feel free. This is your time to pick a situation that's meaningful for you. So you'll help your partner get into the role of the person who will say the thing that triggered you. And this is only like a sentence or 2 or 3, like you are my investment banker sister who stood next to me as she said an MFA was worthless and I was wasting my parents' money. Something that really touched you, and whatever situation you want to work with. So when you're helping your partner get into the role, you just tell them who they were, what they said, and partner who's playing the role, improvise as if you were that person. So for you, the person who's doing the exercise, you just gave the role to this other person. Remember your why. Take a deep breath, letting it fill your lungs. Use that as a pause and feel that hand on your back or the other gesture of support from that wise, calm part of you that's always present. And then make a simple, loving, connected inquiry. Like, can you help me understand what that means? Or what makes you say that? can you tell me more about that? And make sure to say it from that place. Or, fake it, kind of moving ahead here. One simple, loving, connected inquiry. Okay, so you have your partner get into the role, remember your why, take a deep breath, feel that loving hand on your back, and take your time. You'll have 4 minutes and make the inquiry. And then the partner will respond and roll. Well, I just think, an MFA is, I saw this article that said it's a luxury, to go and get an MFA. And it'd be one thing if you were paying for it, but this is our parents' money we're talking about. So you're going to respond in the role. Go ahead and have fun with it. And the person whose turn it is, continue the conversation as if you were a curious, open-hearted interviewer trying to get to the heart of this story, or a supportive therapist, or the Buddha, sincerely trying to learn more. Can you tell me what makes you feel that way? And what's it like for you to watch me doing this MFA program? And, and reflect back what you're hearing. So I'm hearing that you really value respect for our parents. You really value using money well. There's no wrong way to do this, but you're tuning into them.